I'm often asked by teachers why I need to save my file. And my simple response is you might need it again. It doesn't matter how small the work is. It could just be one page, it could be a whole lesson, it could be a section. But it means you don't have to make that again. So saving your work is rather important. It's also good to save your work because we can refer back to it. Students can then see exactly where they left off, and if there's funny annotations or they remember a student coming up and filling in an answer, it'll get them right back to where they left off from the last lesson. So let's look at a few more reasons why we need to save our files. You want to save and use it again. You'll want to continue from where you left off. You want to use this file in another file, so you've created a part and you've got other files that you want to add it to. Your students have contributed to the lesson and you want to save their annotations and notes that they've made. Possibly you want to print this off for them or send it to them later. You teach more than one class and would like to save a file for each class. Hence you make your template for the first lesson, but then you teach 3 classes. So you'll go and save those lessons under each class's name so that you can continue from them. So where would I find the Save button? If we look at Toolbar 1, click on the File button, you will see the 2 save options, Save and Save As. What is the difference between Save and Save As? Save saves the file straight away. Where you are just saves whatever you've done over the file that is open. It only changes when it's a new file. Save As allows for you to name the file or change it to a new name if it's already been saved as a file. And there's one time where it doesn't matter whether you press Save or Save As. That's when you've got a new file or an untitled file, as Smart Notebook calls it, and you are saving it for the first time. It will then give you the same option. Let's have a look at a few examples. Let's start by looking at a new file. I've gone ahead and created a brand new file for a lesson in science. When I opened it in the beginning, it was labeled untitled. So now I'd like to save this file because I'm going to teach it later. I go ahead to File, and it doesn't matter which button I click on, Save or Save As, the same reaction will happen. So let's start with clicking on Save. A good idea is to have a folder where you keep all your lessons, and depending what grade or subject you teach, you will divide those folders up. We have another video looking at creating folders. I'm going to go to my lessons folder, and I would place it in the correct folder. But before I do that, I'm just going to close this option by pressing Cancel, and go back to File and click Save As. The same reaction. So this is important when we're creating a brand new lesson because it allows us to click on either Save or Save As, and it'll have the same function when it's a new lesson. So I go to Lessons. This is a Life Science Grade 12 lesson. I then double click and open the folder. I can then give it a file name by clicking next to the file name. This file was called Asexual Reproduction. Click Save, and that gets saved into my folder. When we are going through the saving process, you'll notice that at the bottom it saves the file as a Smart Notebook file or .notebook, and they're quite distinguishable because they have this blue page which identifies them as the notebook files on your computer. So if I was to look in my folder, you'll see I have 3 notebook files, a PowerPoint file, and a Word file, and they each have their own logos to represent them. Notebook is the blue one. Let's look at one of the functions of the Save As button. I'm going to open my genetics lesson. This is a lesson that I've created and I want to use over with the 3 different classes that I teach in grade 12. Originally it's saved as genetics. Now I'd like to save this one for my grade 12 1 class. Therefore I click on File, Save As, and go down to the file name change, and I change that so that I know which one it is. For example, Genetics 12-1, and I'd click Save. And if I was to go look in my folder now, you will see I have 2 lessons now, Genetics, which is the template, and Genetics 12-1, which I've saved for that specific class. I'd go again and save for 12-2 and 12-3. So the important points to remember for this video are, you will need to know when to click Save or when to click Save As. We can use Save on existing files, and that will automatically save over everything we've done, any annotations or text that we add to it. Save As gives us the opportunity to rename the file or the template that we're using into another name. It is also important to have a folder to save your lessons in. Thank you for watching this video, brought to you by the Technology Training Academy.